Okay, so this is a water pump tips, things I learned while replacing a water pump. I've done this twice now, actually 3 times. Number one is you don't have to drain the coolant. My truck is on a slight incline, but I did not drain the coolant. So yes, when I removed the pump, tons of coolant came rushing out, but if you can see my over tank flow here, yes, I know I've got green coolant. That's because it got switched years ago. Got switched the correct way where it was flushed with distilled water first. Some pluses and minuses on having green versus a Dex Cool, so I'm keeping the green. Anyway, that is it. So you don't have to drain it if you don't really want to. Second is the pump. So the reason I'm having to do this, I think I misdiagnosed my pump earlier as being bad, and it wasn't. But I did not, I tried to reuse a gasket, so I'm not going to do that. So I got a new gasket. So we have 5 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all 8 millimeters. You're going to get in there. It's kind of dark. You kind of forget, try not to forget this 10 millimeter, this 10 millimeter, they hold the pump together. Don't remove those. So it's easy to do. You get kind of caught up in removing bolts. So don't do that. So it's just the 5 8 millimeter bolts. It's a metal gasket. I'm actually going to put a little bit of a gasket maker on it. I hope that doesn't screw me, but kind of sick of having this leak, and I think this is where this leak was from. All right, so I got it torqued down 84 inches, 7 foot-pounds. So got that done. So the next part is pulling the pulley back on so we can put the belt back on. We'll go ahead and do that. All right, tip, remember after you get your pulley on, you're not gonna be able to get the bolts that tight. So once you get the belt on, then remember to go back and torque down those bolts. All right, tip for getting the belt back on. There's always which pulley is the one to get on last. I thought the AC compressor is the easiest one to do. So here's the pulley, the tensioner. It's a 3/4 inch. But use the AC compressor. Pulley is the last pulley to get on. All right, a little tip here. This pipe right here is just held on by one 10 millimeter head bolt. But if you remove it, you get a lot more access to move things around. Get better access to taking on and off the pump, taking on and off the pulley, better access for the tensioner, for that main belt. And like I said, it's just one bolt. It's got this little thing that kind of notch. It kind of holds it in place. Then you put the bolt in. Let's see, I can't really get a good shot at it. Anyway, but there's just one bolt. All right, the only thing about this pulley is remember to torque them up after you get the belt on, and you're going to need a 1/2 inch breaker bar to work the tensioner. All right, so to refill on my system, I'm going to fill this up to the line, obviously, but I'm actually going to take this off and I'm going to fill it in both directions. So it's going to go down in this way, most importantly this way, because then it's going to fill in the top of the motor and it's going to prime that pump. All right, so I've filled that up until some came out. I'm not going to fill it back this way just because I don't feel like taking that clamp off. I'm going to fill it this way. It actually came up. I actually do like using just a screwdriver for these 30s. That way you're not putting too much torque on them. Tighten them down. All right, here's the last tip. Get yourself, this is the gap tool. You don't actually have to have something this expensive, but do not trust this gauge when you're doing diagnostics and doing this for the first time. Get something that plugs in the ODB2 port so you can view it on your phone and you can see the actual temperatures. Because once it starts rising, it doesn't stop. you know, and it's just going to burn up your engine. So we'll do this, and so we can see if it's, you know, once it gets over 200, you know, it's not going to stop. So go ahead and just shut down the engine when it hits about 200. There's no reason to go any higher. So we're going to check the temperatures and go from there. So definitely pour coolant into the cylinder heads through the thermostat housing. Definitely take off those 30 Torx screws and pour coolant down there. I've done this twice, and the first time I didn't do it, I started getting an overheat. So no issues the second time. Poured it in there, primed the pump, put coolant back in, filled up the reservoir, drove around for a little bit, still had to fill up some of the reservoir afterwards after doing the first test drive, but after that I was fine. Hope this helps.